Devin Haney gets credit for dominating George Kambosos. In this film study, we're going to be taking a look at the elusive upper body movement of Devin Haney and how these moves kind of apply to the rest of boxing and why it was that Kambosos had such a difficult time fighting this style. Okay, now, number one, Devin Haney, this is not clip number one, Devin Haney getting on the line a lot, shooting his jab, stepping, and then likes to get off the line real quick. But I want to point out here, his ability to get on the line and drive his weight forward and then get his weight off the line is not nearly as good. Okay, so he's very good at the first part, the stepping in and punching, but he's not as good at the getting off the line part. As we can see, a little bit of ducking here rather than taking just a step off the line, like someone like Bivol has much more control over their body mechanics and their weight, and they're able to make those moves look much more seamless than Devin Haney is able to. Now in this next clip, we're going to see, because he has trouble getting his weight off the line, he's going to kind of pendulum forward after this jab, after the counter from Kambosos, trying to get under it here. Now the problem with this is illegal. Okay, and we're going to talk a few reasons why. Number one, where's Devin Haney's face? Well, number one, you're never supposed to turn your head away from your opponent or duck your head below, duck your head down. Okay, so if you say you point your face toward the ground, that means the top of your head is often going to be pointing at your opponent. And this is very dangerous. If you punch someone on the top of the head, you're very likely, if you caught them with a good shot, you're very likely to break your hand. Okay, so it's illegal to point the top of your head at your opponent or put it down. You have to keep the top of your head up and your eyes kind of locked with your opponent, even though you can use your head movement and move and roll, but you cannot put your head down like this. Number two, you cannot put your head below your waist, because look at all the body shots, right? All the legal body shots on Devin Haney are here. George Kambosos, even though Devin Haney is right in front of him, he has no legal boxing targets. Okay, he can kind of hit him on the side of the face, but if Devin Haney turns his head away this way, he's going to start crying like a little girl about getting hit in the back of the head because he's attempting to cheat by ducking below the waist. This is an attempt to get away from all the legal activity from Kambosos. Okay, this is a tactic that Mayweather used to use as well, and it stopped people from being able to pendulum step on him, because if they would pendulum, he could just go right under their jab, just like Virgil Hunter kind of learned. If you look at how his fighters, Andre Ward, would try to get under the jab, and they try to get under the jab and get up to the body, and then if we watch, Haney's going to wrap this left hand around George Kambosos, and now he's holding. Okay, so after he cheats and ducks below the waist, below all the return fire, he's going to start holding Kambosos and preventing Kambosos from being able to punch. Now, I know people think that this is what fighting on the inside is. I know that's what people think, that this is tying up. Tying up is grabbing your opponent's arms, right? You got one arm on their one arm, and then they get one arm on your one arm, and now you're tied up. That's a tie-up, right? That's going to be where you inside fight. But if you grab your opponent by the body, that is called holding. And he's doing that so that he can stop Kambosos from having enough space to throw any punches. However, he's still going to try to throw punches himself, and he's going to get away with that because he's taller than most of his opponents. He's bigger than them, so he's allowed to cheat. And because the referee is an absolute fucking moron, and he should never be allowed to ref another fight ever again, he allowed Haney to get away with this. But I don't even want to say just get away with it. Okay, we're going to show you kind of a couple of other clips. But much more legal here, pulling straight back. But notice his weight management. Notice how his weight's stuck on the front foot here, and then he ducks below the waist here. But watch how he doesn't move in here, and he doesn't smother George Kambosos. This is a much more legal version of this, because he's not also going to follow this cheat up with another cheat, like holding and then hitting, right? Again, ducking below the waist to evade punches, illegal. Technically, if you were to rescore the fight and give Kambosos a point every single time Devin Haney cheated to avoid getting hit, Kambosos would win the fight by overwhelming margins. Do you understand what that means? That Devin Haney had to cheat so often that's the only real reason that Kambosos didn't get any offense off against him. Okay, now, moving off the line, but much more easily to follow up, right? Ducking below the waist again. This is not as difficult to fight and hit against, and I do think that Kambosos was able to make some adjustments. As we can see here, even though he gets low, if he doesn't body up and he doesn't hold, even if he still cheats, you can still make adjustments and be able to attack this position. But again, that was one of Devin Haney's biggest strategies, was to kind of duck below the waist and find illegal ways to defend himself. Now, the jab is going to come at Devin Haney, and he kind of slips the fight, right? Slips the shot. Beautiful, right? Comes in with the hook. Not too bad. And now, immediately after the hook, he's ducking below the waist again. And then he's going to come in, and see how he's already wrapped his arm around George Kambosos? He's already stacking and layering his cheating, okay? So he's able to throw punches, duck below the waist, and again, there's no offense against him. And he's here, right? Are you allowed to hit him here in the body? Well, then Devin Haney's going to cry and say he's hitting me in the back, because that's what he does. Devin Haney's a little bitch. And then if you hit him in the face, in the head, he's going to say, oh, you're hitting me in the back of the head. And the whole time, he's going to complain that you're holding him, while he immediately gets on the inside and tries to wrap his left arm around his opponent. Again, cheating. It's all cheating, guys. And it's one of the ways that he's able to avoid taking significant damage. And again, as we can see here, ducking below the waist. And now see, George Kambosos is going to shoot that jab, pendulum step on him. And as he pendulum steps, Devin Haney is able to duck below the waist. And that stops his head from being in traffic for the right hand. But where are all the legal targets now? Why are there no legal targets anymore? Well, because Devin Haney is cheating. And then as soon as he comes down, he tries to wrap that left arm around him, and we can see that glove, even though it's kind of blurry, we can see that glove wrapped around George Kambosos on the shoulder here, and he's punching. So he ducked below the waist, illegally got away from a hard, powerful pendulum punch that was perfectly timed, and then he came up holding his opponent, again, so he cannot follow up his offense, and now he's holding and hitting. Okay? And all of this stuff, the referee is just blissfully unaware, well, partly because of the Floyd Mayweather effect on boxing, and kind of cheated his way, and no one in Vegas ever called him on it because he made so much money for the city, right? And now everyone thinks they get to cheat. But the thing is this stuff is not going to work for Devin Haney when he starts fighting people who are bigger than him. Why do you think Mayweather retired? So, coming in, ducking below the waist, again, and this is a move here that Tim Bradley, that moron, said was beautiful defense, okay? Again, George Kambosos comes in, and what does Devin Haney do? Is he slipping a punch? Is he rolling? Is he countering? Is he doing anything productive? No, he's putting his head between his legs. Look at this. Is this legal? If you did this, so here's the thing, you guys, and I know all of you guys want to defend him. I know all of you guys want to say, oh, well, that's just smart boxing. Oh, you don't hit and don't get hit. I want you guys to try this in your gym. But I want you to try it knowing that you are not the A side. Okay? I want to see how long it takes you to get kneed in the face or shoved over or just punched in the back. Okay? You're not going to get away with this stuff unless you're the A side. Okay? You're not going to get away with this stuff. And then when people start taking advantage of it and you want to cry, because I've seen Devin Haney sparring. He acts like a little girl in sparring, getting all tough. Ooh. But he has to cheat. He can't even actually box somebody and fight and use the rules of boxing. And then he's going to do a little pivot, but look at his left arm, you guys. Again, he's trying to grab Kambosos. Think about this, you guys. Look at how much bigger Devin Haney is than George Kambosos. And he has to cheat and duck and hold to beat him. Okay? To be honest, it's sad. Not only is it sad, but it's not fun to watch. Okay? And the fact that he doesn't get penalized for this stuff means that there's no opportunity for him to have to fix it. And it's just going to keep happening again, probably until he fights someone as big and strong as him. Now, is this a move in boxing? Do you guys practice this one? The slip and the grab? Because that's not a punch. He's trying to grab Kambosos, right? Okay, and then ducking below the waist again and again. Kambosos making an adjustment, feinting here, off the line and finding almost an opportunity to land that shot, except for the fact that Devin Haney's ducking, right? And now look at his head pointed at his opponent. It's illegal. If Kambosos were to punch him on the top of the head right now, the likelihood that he would break his hand is very high. Devin Haney is obligated by the rules of boxing to keep his eyes, I don't want to say keep his eyes locked with his opponent, but that's what the rule is supposed to do. The rule is supposed to keep your face, the legal target, not pointed at the ground, but pointed in a way that your opponent always has an opportunity to throw punches. So when they practice being a real fighter, they're allowed to use the legal moves they've practiced and trained. Okay? If you guys go back and watch Canelo versus Mayweather, Canelo was able to figure out a lot of the similar stuff with this stuff being able to create space against Mayweather when Mayweather would have that stuff to, again, prevent people from pendulum stepping on him and getting power in their punches. Again, Devin Haney wants to control the line real quick, and then just duck below the waist if you make it past his guard or whatever, right? Meanwhile, he's quote-unquote piling up points with that bullshit, pitiful jab of his. But ducking below the waist again, and look at him ducking below the waist, and he's only getting away with this stuff because he's so much bigger than his opponent. Okay, he's still even getting hit by that punch there. Ducking below the waist, still getting hit. No, getting controlled on the way up. Now, I included this clip because this is a much more reasonable interpretation of what Devin Haney is doing. Now, if Devin Haney stopped here and he didn't duck anymore, I think that this is fine. But I want you to pay attention to the fact that where's his weight? Did it make it to the back foot? Did it make it? No, not really, right? So when he starts moving off the line here, and he does roll to the front foot instead of holding, notice how he's able to find a punch here. Okay? Now, Kambosos almost caught him with a shot too. But here's the thing. This is the way that boxing is supposed to work. You guys have equal opportunities, right? To throw punches at each other, and you actually have to play these boxing games with people. You actually have to get on the line with them. Whereas Devin Haney's whole boxing game is about being faster than you, being bigger than you, and stepping in with his jab, and then spoiling the entire fight after. And that is not boxing. Does anyone ever want to see Vladimir Klitschko throw another punch again? No. No. I don't ever want to see that again. Thank fucking God that Anthony Joshua got the victory. Okay? Thank God. But anyway, a much more reasonable representation of decent defense, even though he's still under the line a little bit too much. Now again, as Kambosos comes in here, where did all the legal targets for him to attack go? And is that fair? Is it fair that he's allowed to essentially, like if this was a video game, that would be like Scorpion teleporting through the floor. Now and he's going to come up behind you, right? Only this way, instead of teleporting, he's going to grab you by the waist and spin, and then hope to catch you with the right hand as he's spinning you. Again, more cheating. Virgil Ortiz doesn't get away with that. Why does Devin Haney? Well, probably because everyone knows he's not actually dangerous. He can't actually punch for shit. But again, ducking below the waist and then immediately grabbing. Now, if we not only is Kambosos landing a punch here, okay, but Devin Haney is cheating, ducking below the waist, and then he's holding, right? So if we counted that as 3 punches for Kambosos, right, we give him just 1 free punch for the cheat. Now, and then one free punch for the second cheat, right? The holding. This is still net positive for Devin Haney. Even if you gave Kambosos points for this, and it was putting him above Devin Haney in the scoring, right? Say Kambosos got credit for landing 10 punches, Devin Haney got credit for landing 20, but Devin Haney cheated every time those 10 punches that Kambosos landed. He cheated twice. So now, in theory, Kambosos may have been able to land 30 punches because his engagements would have been better if Devin Haney was forced to stay on the line or not cheat, right? So that means that even if Kambosos was getting credit for winning the rounds 30-20, that Devin Haney would still be ahead because he was able to give those points away without sustaining damage. But not only is Devin Haney not having to sustain damage, he's also not being penalized for cheating, and he's able to have so much more quote-unquote stamina, right? Also, the fact that he's bigger than Kambosos and constantly trying to wrestle and hold him and lean on him and, you know, do all those other things that are, again, not boxing. Again, ducking below the waist, grabbing with his left arm again. And what is Kambosos doing? Is he doing anything wrong? No, he's not doing anything wrong. And again, Devin Haney's trying to get this angle and hold him by the waist. Now, as we take a look at this clip, okay, Devin Haney is still holding on to his waist. He's grabbing him and he's pretending that he's not doing anything wrong. Gaslighting the referee, right, while he's cheating. I'm not doing anything. I'm not doing it. It's not me. It's not. But this has been his game plan the whole fight. Again, Devin Haney's not a boxer. He's a spoiler, right? So getting completely outboxed here, right? Stepped with the jab, landed. Body shot, landed. Left hook, I think that one missed. But again, where's Devin Haney's head, right? Even though he's getting completely outboxed here. And people are saying this is good defense. Okay, his head is completely... Why is Kambosos not allowed to punch this dude in the back? Right? If this was a real fight, do you think... What is Devin Haney ever going to do in a real fight? Okay? And that's why these rules, again, I know it's not a real fight. It's boxing, right? This is boxing, not a street fight. But the fact that Haney is not being held to the standard of a boxing fight. He's not being forced to follow the rules. Why should Kambosos, right? Because in any other kind of setting for a fight, any of the stuff that Devin Haney is doing, all the stuff that's not actually landing him punches, or is not actually punches landed, is getting him knocked out, is getting him body slammed, getting him kicked in the face, kneed in the face, getting him thrown and ragdolled. It's like the most pitiful and sad excuse for a fighter, right? And he can only play these little cheap boxing games. Holding, look at his left hand wrapped around his waist, and again trying to spin out and take that angle and try to find an opportunity to hit Kambosos over the top. Right? Here he goes, right around, and he's going to try to hit him while holding onto his waist. Again, cheating. Cheating. Now, Kambosos is going to make it to the front foot. Devin Haney was leaving that position, and now his weight's going to come forward, and he's going to leap in with that big leaping shot, and then again, Devin Haney ducking below the waist, right? Ducking below the waist. But this is how the fight would be going if Devin Haney wasn't allowed to duck below the waist away from the right hand here. Again, cheating. Pulling himself, again, below his opponent's weight, and then trying to tie up. And look at that left hand wrapped around Kambosos' waist again. Okay? This is not boxing, you guys. Okay? Ducking below the waist again. Grabbing him by the waist here. Here he is holding. And now he's hitting him. Again, blatant cheating. Multiple patterns of cheating. Okay? And the referee is not saying anything. Okay? Again, the referee there is just not a real referee. You guys practice this move in the gym? The slip and the grab? Now, Devin Haney can talk all this shit. He could pretend like he's a great fighter, man, but he's just trying to game the system like Mayweather did, and the only reason it's working is because Eddie Hearn completely has his back, thinking that he's going to be the next Mayweather or whatever, you know, or whoever's promoting Devin Haney now, and paying off that ref and, you know, whatever. But while Devin Haney, so I already don't really want to watch too many more Gervonta Davis fights. Okay, that was Raleigh Romero made that fight interesting, and Gervonta Davis ran. Okay, he ran until he got his opponent tired, and he was slowed down a little bit enough to land a hard shot. And then, if you do that against Tank Davis, you slow down a little bit. As soon as he gets you with one good one, yeah, you're going out. So it'll make me watch. I'll still watch Tank Davis because I know that he always has the opportunity to knock the guy out. And Devin Haney doesn't have that. Devin Haney's not knocking anybody out. Devin Haney has no power. His footwork is poor. His defense is not good. His hands is down the whole time, and he gets away with it because he's not actually trying to fight you. And he's even faster because he doesn't have to keep his hands up because he's not trying to box you. He's just going to throw little easy arm punches, and then he's going to duck below the waist. And it's going to be easier for him to duck below the waist because he doesn't keep his hands up. Again, he has this whole entire craft around breaking these rules. And the sad thing is again, it's not going to work against higher level fighters. It's not going to work against people who are going to be as strong as him, people who are going to actually be physical with him. And the first time that he doesn't get to be the A side, which could be never, I don't know. Who knows if he gets to be the A side against someone like Ryan Garcia. But Ryan Garcia will spark this guy. And I don't even think Ryan Garcia is getting any better at the moment. And Teofimo Lopez, I don't think that Devin Haney can compete with either of them on a physical level. And the ducking below the waist, you know, maybe they'll be able to say something about it. Maybe they'll be able to make an adjustment and see it coming too. But maybe the referee will finally just start doing his fucking job and enforce some of the boxing rules, right? Again, you're not allowed to grab your opponent's body like this. You're allowed to tie their arms up, right? And control their hands. But you're not allowed to grab and hold somebody, right? Is this wrestling? Are we allowed to throw our opponent? Because again, this is cheating. Anyway, if you're new to the channel, I want to say go ahead and don't leave a comment, okay? Go watch some other film studies. Go watch some other stuff on the channel before you decide to say some stuff. Because if you say some stuff, I'm going to say some stuff too. But if you have something intelligent to say, go ahead and leave a comment, leave a like, leave a dislike. But don't try to tell me that what Devin Haney does is boxing. Because not one fan in that arena would agree.